some of them you and I have talked about that are just phenomenal, and they're free to everybody, and I want people to know them. But what I'm hoping is that as people are hearing themselves in this conversation and understanding that their mind is not, they're not going crazy, I also am hoping that we can really come together, put our brains together to be able to help women figure out, like, what do you do in that moment? So you've hit that moment where his breathing is driving you crazy. You can't, the looping thoughts, you can't stop, and you're just not sure where do you go with your own head.
Yeah.
So give me some ideas of what women do there.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that first step in those moments, right, is awareness.
Yeah.
Like paying attention to your physiology. So it's not so much my thoughts as much as it's my physiology. And it also could be, again, it could be trauma here. You know, that there's a pattern that you're upregulating. And so I get more tense. I get more charged focus. I'm not chilling, like laying back, like I'm in like handle business energy. My jaw tenses. Everything just gets tighter. And so when I start to notice those physiological changes, that is the time where if I have bandwidth, like I have a moment, I will go and step outside. I'll take up even a 3-minute walk in nature. I'll try to shake it off because I know that's often charged cortisol too, like adrenaline that's running through me, that's firing without thinking. And so I'll shake it off. I'll dance or swamp. So I love rage dancing. So if I can get up into my bedroom, I'll do a 5-minute rage dance where I'll just move.
What's a rage dance?
Yeah, so
what's that?
It's usually some kind of really intense music, like
screaming?
I wouldn't say screaming, but
like death metal.
No,
or something?
I do not love death metal. I would say like a song that, you know, maybe it's a very sad song, or maybe it's like a higher energy, like maybe Alanis Morissette, you know, something like that, you know, where you're just, you know, where those, you know, you're just, and I usually grab a pillow and I just start moving my body and just shaking the energy. I'll kind of swamp, and this is Mama Gina's work, where I'll just try to alchemize that energy. And then if I've got bandwidth, I'll move into like a sadder song, like maybe Sarah McLachlan or something like that, or Lauryn Hill. And all of a sudden, all the emotions are moving and mobilizing, and I'll find myself crying, you know, like, and I will feel so much better that I've just kind of uncharged a lot of those emotions. Another thing that I'll do is I scream into pillows a lot. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
I
never screamed into a pillow. I just scream into the house.
It feels so good.
But that's good. I got to think about the pillow. The neighbors might.
Yeah.
Like
so screaming, whether it's in a car, like especially if you're like, even if people are in the house and you're afraid they're going to hear you, you can have a pillow. I have a pillow in the trunk, so I'm just ready. Okay. So I'll scream in the pillow.
You kind of said 3 things though that I think are really interesting. Walking became my absolute go-to menopausal medicine. If I could not walk, I probably would have killed myself. Like, I can't tell you how many times I'm like, I don't know what to do with my thoughts. And I've literally put my tennis shoes on and I just walk. And, you know, we have so much of a better understanding that bilateral stimulation, right, left. And when you look out at the horizon, like that brings cortisol down. I've even now added, you got to try this. I've added in a weighted vest. I've become one of the ruckers. But like a weighted vest calms the nervous system down, and I go walk, and it's become my drug of choice. Like, it can literally turn my mood in a second. So I love that. The second thing you said was like trauma release therapy. What is that? Because animals do that when they're under trauma, they
shake it out,
shiver
just shiver
and
it out.
shake.
Yeah. You're dispelling that excess cortisol. It's got to go somewhere.
Yeah.
You know, meditation ain't going to get it done. You know?
No, you can't sit down and meditate in that moment. No. And then music. Me and music have become besties through this perimenopausal journey. And my kids actually said to me, why do you listen to such sad music? And I think I like to listen to sad music so I can just sometimes sit and go into the sadness of it, because it's like, I don't know what to do with all this mind energy, and maybe this feeling the sadness actually helps me move through it. So I'm right with you on those strategies.
Some other things I've done, especially in this time, there's these beautiful women. They're so incredible. They hold amazing space, and they do this 2-hour transformational breath work, and everyone's screaming. Everyone's screaming and we're talking.
Oh, that's
it's
great.
Mostly 80+% women. It's like 20 people can be in this room, this living room. It's in a living room. And I usually go twice a month, and I am just moving it out. And they'll do energy work while you're doing it. I mean, if you're not crying, it's a guaranteed cry moment. You know, you're going to cry at some point in this 2-hour breath work. So I'm heading there in next Friday. So that's been helpful.
Wow.
Also somatic, like you said, more of those somatic kind of in your body. So I have a weighted scarf that I'll put around my neck that will just calm my system, kind of like the weighted vest that you were talking about. Breath, even for me, like a 30-second, 1 minute kind of breath work exercise, whether if it's the kind of the longer the longer exhale versus the inhale. I think it's a 4-7-8 breath that I'll do, but I'll also run through the holotrophic breath, where it's the really more intense breath to move it through, because I'm just trying to move energy out.
Right. Me too.
I'm also really down to just own my emotion. I'm feeling irritated. I'm feeling mad. I'm feeling angry. I'm feeling rageful. And then asking myself, like, well, where is that in my body? Where is that coming from? Is it my stomach? Is it my heart? Is it my throat? Yeah. And so getting more in tune with my body and really understanding where I'm holding on to those emotions. Because I have an ACEs score of a 7, a child adverse, score, an adverse childhood event score of a 7, I knew that trauma was going to play out in a lot of different ways potentially. Yeah. And I feel like, I wouldn't say that it's made my perimenopause easier. And so I really honor that too. It's like, there's this trauma that I'm working through. So I do a lot of parts work. I do EMDR. So I go work with, I work with a trauma-informed therapist. And so even though I do a lot of the free tools and I'm very consistent, I walk sometimes 4 times a day, because I just need to be out solo, just being outside, moving my body, maybe listening to something, maybe not, and having really scheduled alone time more than anything, just giving myself space and bandwidth. Yep. And then the other thing that I really rely on are my best friends, who can hold space and capacity for my really big, intense emotions. Sometimes I feel like my partner, because he's in it, can't always do that for me. He doesn't have as much compassion as my besties do. That's been huge for me. I will voice memo. I mean, like, it all comes out. And I can just send it off. And it just feels so much better.